Here we are just above the Pepacton Reservoir at the trailhead for the Shavertown Trail, which we're going to follow up to a small pond and a viewpoint that looks out across the reservoir. So come on along. We are on our way out to the overlook, which will be the first destination on the hike this afternoon, or maybe, as you can tell from the low light, this evening. Team late start in the house, but so far it's been a steady climb up till this point. Now it's kind of leveling off as we're walking up to the overlook, but first about half mile, steady but moderate climb up to the trail junctions, and we'll see where the trail takes us and how the view is shortly. Alrighty, so we have made it to the overlook on this route. It is 1.3 miles from the trailhead and about 760 feet of climbing to get here. I will get up and turn around so that you can see the view. This is looking over the Pepacton, a branch of it, the reservoir for New York City, one of the 5 here in the Catskills that actually supply 90% of the drinking water for New York City. Or does anyone guess how many billions of gallons a day that is? Well, it's 1 billion gallons roughly of water from the Catskills goes down to New York City, and this is one of the reservoirs that holds that water. So I'm going to enjoy some Catskills water, a snack. Then I think I'm going to head back to the junction with the pond loop trail, go up to the pond and do that loop, and then head back down to the trailhead and call it a day. One benefit of team late start and evening walks is that as dusk starts to settle in, it's not really dusk, but as late afternoon, early evening starts settling in, different wildlife is coming out, including a bunch of owls starting to hoot. So I don't think it's going to pick up on the microphone, but the entire way down from the overlook, I have been serenaded by owls, along with other creatures, but it's always a treat, I think, to hear an owl. Oh, and hey, June 1st, and you're wearing fleece. Yeah, well, for anyone who knows, it has been an incredibly wet and cold spring in the Northeast, and the Catskills have been no exception. I think the high today was 55, and we actually have a freeze warning tonight since we are past our normal last frost date. So I'm kind of hoping for the garden's sake that is not the case, but makes for some nice hiking weather. You know, it's usually by now you're sweating away hiking in humid and hot weather. So here we are freezing. Maybe not freezing, but it's totally been a struggle not to turn the heat back on since early April. Because it really just hasn't warmed up here. But we are almost back to the trail junction. I'll take you along. Speaking of owls, here is one hanging out in the tree just above me. I'm gonna try to zoom in a little more. Obviously losing quality, but there they are. How freaking cool. And they're not hooting, they're making some other noises right now. Oh, there he goes. Well, now that was nifty. I don't think I've ever seen an owl that close while I've been hiking. So, a first for me. I definitely have heard them before, but you often hear them hooting, but never actually see them. And I think I figured out what all that noise was they were getting very excited because there was a squirrel a few trees over. And when they took off there and started to fly in the video, they aimed right for that squirrel, which the squirrel got out of the way, but now they are all chirping away. And looks like survival of the fittest is going on. All right, we are up to the pond. Didn't see any more owls along the way to the pond, but we did make it to the pond, which is right back there. I've always thought it was really cool that here, way up on the side of the mountain, there is a pond, but there is also the view of the Pepacton Reservoir back there, which actually I kind of think is a better view than the view at the overlook. But I think you should experience both to see which one you like better. And clearly there's owls along the trail to the overlook, so it gets a plus there. We are heading down the back side of the pond loop, and I think, as you can tell, it is clearly not used as much as the other two trails, the Overlook Trail and that piece of the pond loop from the Overlook Trail up to the pond. So we're gonna follow this. I think it just follows this old road for most of the way, but we'll see what we find along the way. Looks like we're passing a weather station along the way. Keep tabs on that changeable Catskills weather. Now we've gotten back to the very first trail junction. There was the Overlook and Pond Loop trail going up, which is where we started. And now, thanks to this big sign, we know this is the trail back to the trailhead. I am just about out to the trailhead, and it looks like it's going to be about 3.4 miles in total, including the trail out to the overlook, and then down, not really down, well, back down to the pond loop, then doing the pond loop, and then taking this trail back out to the trailhead. So I have reached the trail register. I'm going to sign out, and one thing that you may have noticed, we are in the Catskills, but the signs and the trail markers seem a little bit different, and that's because we are on New York City land. So as I mentioned earlier, you know, they have those reservoirs here in the Catskills that provide water for the city. They also own about 150,000 acres of land throughout the Catskills, which makes them the second largest public landowner. And while a lot of the land does not have trails, or some of it is actually closed to public use, a good amount is open to public use, and DEP, New York City DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, has partnered with the Catskill Mountain Club, CMC, to build a number of different trails on city property throughout the Catskills. So the Shavertown Trail here is one of those trails that the Catskill Mountain Club has built. Wonderful little set of trails. It's taken me just about 2 hours, so not even 2.5 as I had projected. It makes for a great morning, afternoon, evening stroll. It's not too hard. It was just under 1,000 feet of climbing too. So I'm gonna sign out, then walk over to the car and call it a day. Your adventures in the Catskills are just beginning. Join us on the 2-mile hike to Dibble's Quarry, where you can sit on a throne and take in the view of Platte Clove.